Hello, everyone, and welcome to SCORE Fairfield County's live webinar on using content to connect and build relationships and revenue for your business. I'm Bob Hogan, the webinar coordinator today and a business mentor here at SCORE Fairfield County. I'll be your host, and our presenter is Kate Berg. More on Kate in just a minute, but first of all, I'd like to introduce Jenna Capolini. Our webinar today is being sponsored by Pitney Bowes, so Jenna is going to provide some brief introductory remarks. Jenna, all yours.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. How are you? My name is Jenna Capolini, and I am part of the social media marketing team at Pitney Bowes based in Stanford. I am honored to be here today on behalf of the Pitney Bowes Foundation, who is a proud supporter of SCORE. For those not familiar with Pitney Bowes, we are a global technology company, e-commerce and financial lending solutions. This past year, we just celebrated our 100th year anniversary, and at one time we were a small business. So our connection to the small business community is a true one. The topic Kate will be discussing today around content marketing and social media is important as it applies to all businesses. No matter if you're small, big, a B2C or B2B, the foundation remains the same. We leverage content marketing to educate, inform, build credibility, and even entertain our customers and prospects. At Pitney Bowes, we work hard every day to find the quote unquote winning content mix formula. And I'd be lying if I said we found it, because we haven't. We're constantly testing and learning. But where we have found success is when we truly understand who our target audience is, what their pain points are, what makes them tick, and then developing content, whether it be a video, a blog post, or an ebook that speaks to these pain points and how our products and solutions can help. By doing this, we're educating, we're showing our value, and we're building credibility among these audiences. So with that, I'd like to thank you for allowing me and Pitney Bowes to be part of this discussion today. I hope you have many takeaways that you can apply to your own businesses. Thank you.
Great. Thanks very much, Jenna. Now just a few brief information items on SCORE. SCORE is a nonprofit national partner of the SBA, and locally here in SCORE Fairfield County, we have over 130 volunteers that have a wide range of industry process and subject matter expertise. We offer three primary value-added services. You can have access one-on-one individual counseling by either clicking on the link that you see on the screen, or you can go to our website and click on Request a Mentor. We also offer a wide range of business education programs like the one today, roughly about 150 throughout the year. And lastly, we have extensive resources on our website, including access to subject matter experts. Our next live webinar will be tomorrow, Wednesday, March 10th at noon, and the topic is Social Commerce in 2021 with Jeff Seaver and John Dupre presenting. And again, you can find more specifics on our website, fairfieldcounty.score.org. When you're on our website, we also have a large number of archived webinars there on a wide range of topics, and you can access those on demand at any time via our website. Just some logistics about today. If you would like to submit a question, please use the chat feature, and you can access that by hovering on the bottom of your screen and clicking on the chat link. You can put questions in at any time. Kate may take some of them as she goes, and we'll also have an extensive Q&A session toward the end. We will end our webinar sharply at 1 o'clock to respect your time, and this session is being recorded, and you can access the recording within about 48 hours from our website, fairfieldcounty.score.org. It's now my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Kate Berg. Kate has over 25 years of experience in technology and strategic marketing, focusing on helping companies grow, go public, and secure venture capital funding. Recent companies she led was sold for $100 million. Kate has also built 2 social media and mobile-based businesses before 2008 and has deep experience in content marketing and influencer communities. During the 90s, she built the global PR for Gartner and helped KPMG Consulting go public. And she has been a member of SCORE since 2009. Kate, it's all yours.
Wow, thank you so much, Bob. And it was really great to hear Jenna as well. And thank you for taking time during your lunch to learn a little bit and get some ideas cooking about content marketing. I start with a Neil Patel quote here, just to kind of level set, because with all of the changes going on in digital marketing every day, it kind of helps to just refresh our memories in terms of, this is not a plug and play exercise for a company, no matter how established or new. It's a long-term strategy in order to really build a reputation in the market and to build relationships with your audience, and really improve brand recall, because there's so much noise out there, as we know. So I like to put that up just to move to level set, so that we can think about, why are we putting content out and working hard to create content. Also in that vein, to kind of pull up a level and look at the entire digital marketing mix, increasingly the marketing mix is earned and owned media. The red and the yellow bubbles are increasingly becoming the ad. The content that we create in the social media environment right now is taking the place largely of click advertising of yesterday. And big brands and small businesses alike are using content to create awareness, grow audience, and sell products and more. So that's how that fits into the overall piece. Piece in the puzzle, pardon me. So again, to the why, before we start talking about types of content, looking at a couple of businesses and what they're doing to break through out there, it helps to also just sort of say, what are our content marketing goals to start with? Most companies have one of these three goals, perhaps all of them going at the same time. Important to kind of refresh your memory on that and look at those. And a good way to think about this, because your time is so valuable and frankly short when you're running a business or starting one, is maybe decide on one goal for the quarter and then create your ideal content mix based on the resources that you have available. You may not have a big budget, or frankly any budget at all, so you really want to be creative and scrappy about the kind of resources that you have available to use, and focus on a goal during the and track that goal and measure, which we'll talk a little bit about. I'm not going to go deep into this. I wanted to just put some thoughts to you, and you can review later at your own leisure. But in building a content strategy, some of the key questions that you should be asking, and probably the most important, and that's why I highlighted it, and actually Jenna hit on it, who are you talking to? Who are you trying to engage with and build that relationship with? And where do they hang out? Where are they? And a lot of that might have to do with the type of work they do, their age, hobbies, interests, or needs if you're solving a business problem. So you really got to think about that before you start to engage your creative juices to come up with campaigns and programs. This is tangentially related. Did I skip? Yeah, I did. This is tangentially related to some of the social media content concepts we're going to be talking about. And this is a recent quote from Bill Gates, who says the future of search, as in search, Google search, or Yahoo, or whoever you use for search engine, is verbs. And this has to do with it's no longer about keywords as it was in the past in the internet. The changes that have come about with Google and other companies are changing the way searches fundamentally operates, and it's filling a void for, as the business, you need to fill the void of questions with useful and sometimes critical information. And a good example of this is during COVID. Ironically, a lot of businesses, small businesses, developed stronger relationships within their communities during COVID. And that's because the needs of their clients and customers didn't go away. They just had to change how they got their products or their services or their takeout for dinner. And so businesses were getting creative and using their Instagram feed, for example, creating content which wasn't maybe creative, but essential. What time are we open? Are we even open? Are we taking customers? And the good news about social platforms is you can change them on the fly. You can reach everyone in that way if your client is interested in seeking you out. Obviously, your website is an important part of that as well. But just talking about I want to know, I want to go, I want to do, and I want to buy. If you think about how you search, you're engaging, a digital device in one of those 4 modes, and it may include location-specific things like we just talked about, or how to grow tomatoes or fix your dishwasher. Some of the content that you're going to put out, obviously, it's all going to connect to those activities that you are looking to resolve for your clients. So now we get to talk about what's new and what's changing, and it's always changing. So it's fun to update my SCORE friends here. A continued move toward authenticity, really, really important. Doesn't need to be polished or a huge production that costs a lot of money. You can use your staff, your fans, your business owners themselves to really be authentically engaging. Lighter, more playful and creative content's very, very important to think about that. You yourself can do the research and dive in and see what people are posting on Facebook Live or Facebook videos. I was checking that out yesterday and it was fascinating. Some coaches that consultants that I know in different parts of the country are posting incredibly intimate videos, which a Sunday morning, sort of, hey, how are you? Handheld with the mobile device. The woman I'm referring to is fairly charismatic, but she didn't wake up probably, the day she decided to be a consultant 8 years ago and say, gee, I love videotaping myself. But she's learned how to engage that audience in a very, very personal way. And I think that's really important. Use of video, obviously really huge still. And use of audio is surging right now. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. So about 82% of web traffic right now is video. So it really is critical to think about how you can transform your business value into video form. And that could be still pictures of words that create a message and put on a stories or on a reels. It doesn't have to be a video shot. It could be a slideshow with music and some great text. I like that approach. I think it's efficient, but it's still categorized as video and it's going to be treated that way in search, so that's valuable for you. So going down this list, obviously, these are all video-focused items, and TikTok is one of the ones that's really on a tear right now. Also, Twitter Spaces is a new audio offering by Twitter to jump on the audio renaissance bandwagon. Podcasts are also really in growth mode right now and are being created by all kinds of players out there, from education to service industry, you name it. And in fact, a video cast, I would call it, I watched on Facebook the other day, and friends of mine have a distillery in Arkansas, and they have started hosting a show. And there are 4 guys in leather chairs, lounges, with the different types of whiskey that they make, and they're smoking cigars, and they had like 1,000 or 1,500 people watching them talk and taste the new offerings that had come out. And it was a great way to communicate, their vibe and also the product and the tasting notes. Clubhouse, I don't know if you've heard about, but it's extremely popular new audio format of a social platform. And it's unscripted, it's live. You join groups and you can listen about various topics, or you can share your own topics. If anyone's interested, just ping me, and I have invitations to Clubhouse. I just joined, and I think it's invite only right now. It won't be for long. That's a good way to create a little scarcity so that people want to get on your platform. So I'm going to start with a case study here, and this is interesting. A friend of mine, Don Heyman, he's a very established and experienced communications strategist. Many years ago, he made his business really all about annual reports and financial annual reports. And as things have moved online, he's shifted his strategy. Really, he always needs to be looking for the next client, but he's able to help in this content explosion with the needs to communicate clearly and in a concise fashion on websites and in other collateral that companies might need. He needs to break through and show his value, and he needs to stay top of mind, because you might not need it now, but tomorrow, if you're in a corporate setting, or if you're a business owner, realize you really could use some help, because not everybody is a good copywriter, and frankly, should hire. Some people should hire a good writer sometimes. Here's the example for Don, which I think is very smart on his part. This is happening on LinkedIn because his audience is the business audience. So naturally he's going there. And as far as I'm concerned, this approach that he has employed is he's offering free samples of his work, which is he's now showing a very easy to comprehend, easy to digest as you're seeing your feed on LinkedIn, what's okay way to express a sentence, and what's a better way, a more, I would say, concise way to put a point across. And it's simple, it's short, but it really sells the value of his skills. Now, he didn't do that once. He's doing it on a consistent basis. I see a new one probably every 2 days. But that's not a great deal of work. He has to create a few examples, and he's putting it out there several times a week, and it's showing up in feeds for his prospects. Case study number 2, Barrel House Z. This is an awesome brewery in Weymouth, Mass. And during, it's an interesting small business story, which I'm sure you guys can all relate to. In the beginning of COVID, they had to shut down their tasting room, which was really the big profit center for the business. They immediately pivoted to do takeout as they had to, and they upped their social energy, social media energy. They also started making seltzers as tastes were changing, so that's another bit of a pivot for the business. Full disclosure, it's my fiance's sister and brother-in-law, and she is doing a terrific job running their Instagram feed if you want to follow them. They've got 8,000 followers. They're doing great, but she said she was sort of feeling like there was a little bit of a lull in her. She had a good list of email list of customers and contacts, but they really wanted to try and improve their social program. Oops, sorry. Yeah, she said she really wants to grow her Instagram audience. That seems to be where the most fruit is for them. Facebook, they had found a great drop off, and I can talk a little bit about that in a second. So she was going to focus on Instagram. She wants to improve her audience through impressions and reach, improve engagement through profile visits, shares, saves, and likes. Those are her content marketing goals. Great goals. One of the things I talked to her about on Facebook was, as I looked at what she was doing, it's still photography. And Facebook a while ago started prioritizing video and doubling down on that, and therefore pushing that content to the top. Also, they made some changes in the fall, which you guys might be aware of, where they were trying to bring, how would you say it, the friends and family in your feed closer to you, and de-emphasizing businesses. And that has hurt small businesses and marketers, because they used to get a lot of action and traction, and now they're sort of, so my suggestion, one of them was to start creating some new video content and see if that starts to drive some change in their numbers in Facebook. The other ideas I had for her, they've got really awesome labeling and beautiful products and the clever creative names for their products. And so one idea was to create animations that are inexpensive to create, a couple $100, and they can be used in various formats on social platforms so that there's movement and interest, but you're still getting your brand out there. Also Reels, which is one of the new offerings that's Instagram's answer to TikTok. So in other words, to show people enjoying the product and pouring the product, and less just stills of the bottles or of the food that they do have there. In the good weather, they have been seating people outside. So enjoying the product and close up and kind of cool photography was one suggestion. Also, creating a brand ambassador and creating a TikTok account where all you're doing is pouring and enjoying. And I know that sounds a little weird, but it's a meme, and those things can be really popular. So actually, one of the people that I consulted with for the ideas for Barrel House was my friend Kim Miller, who, I'm often asked with SCORE for resources. And so I asked her to create this rate sheet so that if anybody needs good photography, because I do think that's important, you got to have really good videography and photography. And if you're not good at it or into it, you can certainly look to budget for it and hire it. And you may not hire her for 12 months, but you might hire her for your quarter, and you could leverage and use a lot of that content throughout the year. So that's one thought there. Of course, we do have to measure how we're doing, or we're just kind of spinning wheels. These are just a few of the measurement metrics that you might use, or KPIs, key performance indicators. Form submissions, if you're looking for, maybe you're doing webinars, you can, how many folks are coming in, that's obvious. Event attendance, another, same concept. Content and conversations that are created and shared. Those were on Mary at Barrel House's list of goals. So on that note, a return on investment point, I was looking at Content Marketing Institute, which I put the link in the next slide, but it's just contentmarketinginstitute.com. Really recommend going there. There's so many resources, amazing. SCORE's got great resources, but this institute is very helpful. And they're saying some other things that you should measure: page views, comments, shares naturally, mobile readership. Sometimes people can bounce onto your website and they didn't mean to go there. So you can see that in your analytics. And if you don't have Google Analytics, you should get that. It's pretty plug and play and essential for knowing how you're doing. Sorry if I'm going fast, but I love the Q&A part, so I'm going to try and get to that. So there's the Content Marketing Institute, recommended. So, sort of closing, I'd say the folks that I know here and around the country who have been able to climb through tough years, not even COVID years, just tough years in their business in general, are the ones who embrace the change that's happening in digital and in the world, and are really passionate about learning and figuring out how to make it to their advantage. And I think, I'm very excited about the future for small business, because digital marketing is has a bit of an effect of leveling the playing field, so that big players don't have, can buy TV time and you're pushed out. Everybody can get out there and be seen and heard and engaging if you've got some creativity. And if you need some help, it's important to think about what you can afford to spend. And the old marketing numbers are still relevant. For years, it's always been sort of 7 to 12% of your revenue. You should look at investing in marketing growth, because without that, you're not going to necessarily hit your growth targets. So you really should look at that and maybe do some bartering with people if that's something, or just spend the money and test and measure your success and tweak it. As Jenna mentioned, at Pitney Bowes, even as esteemed and old a company as they are,
Okay, just a reminder, if you want to submit a question, you can open up your chat box by hovering on the bottom and submitting a question or a comment for Kate. As Kate mentioned, we get the most value out of these when they're interactive. And so please don't hesitate to speak up or to, through your question. The first one we have here, Kate, is does audio include music? If so, where does one find free or low cost music?
Yeah, that's a really good question. The cool thing about these platforms, I did a couple reels the other day. I had been doing stories on Instagram for a while, and I'm not sure if they have it. Maybe somebody here can tell me. But on reels, the music is right there, and it's sample. They've paid the licensing for us, so you can select. I picked, silly example, but this past weekend, I opened a bottle of Sancerre, poured it out, and it was such a beautiful color that I spun the glass around, and then I started filming, in reels and Instagram, and slow-mo. Oh, maybe, no, sorry. I just hit slow-mo on my phone, and the swirling glass made a really kind of a cool little vignette. It was a few seconds long. And once I did that, then I could just upload that to reels, and I picked Here Comes the Sun, Beatles song, little sample of it, less than 5 seconds, popped it up. It took me like no time at all. And it was really cool. And people liked it. And somebody I know wanted to use it for some other purpose in RFT, which is a blockchain crypto thing. And I won't go down that road. But anyway, it was easy. Hopefully that there are other places to find free and low cost music, but I don't know them offhand. So I would have to come back on that.
Okay. We have a question from Michelle. Has there been any trends in email marketing? Kind of a broad question, but
it's a great question because I love email marketing. One of the reasons that it's still really relevant and frankly could still be the hub of your marketing efforts is this phone is with us all the time, right? And the alerts, unless you've chosen not to get them, force it up onto your screen. And so I'm actually engaging with your content, whether I had time to or not. It's popping up if you emailed me. That is only to say it's still relevant and important. The trend though is video and audio. There are ways, and Squarespace has a great offering where you can incorporate video into your email campaign very easily. You don't have to know anything about it. You just use their service. That's the great thing about all the, Constant Contact and HubSpot and what's another one that I often talk about? MailChimp. They have acquired a lot of different businesses that were best in class on various types of retargeting if you're going to do paid advertising or a content management system itself so that you can keep all this stuff straight. So those have tools for video. And I do think that is one trend. I don't know about any other trends that are popping into mind, but I did think about that before the call. Apologize if I'm asking you to repeat your presentation. Can you recommend a source for low-cost writers of content? Yes, I can. Actually, Upwork is a source. There are others like Upwork. That's UPWORK. And it's amazing what you can find on Upwork. You can find a writer, you can find a social media pro, and they're all over the world. And they're all fees, ranging from low cost to, high cost and the quality as well. You can find an engineer to do some coding for you. Upwork is a good source. And there are other companies like Upwork. If anybody wants to share and chat, please do.
We have maybe while there are people are doing that, we have a question from Brandy. Should I plan out content through a content calendar? And how do you make impactful videos as a person who has never done video before?
Yeah, great question, Brandy. And I would think, Jenna and I would agree wholeheartedly. A content calendar is important to do. One thing I would say is, going back to the let's do it by the quarter, there's no reason to do it the whole year because, again, we're iterating, we're changing, we're seeing what works. So let's do it in 3-month chunks. You might have a view on what you want to, accomplish for the year and what's happening in your business. You can kind of put that in the margins, like back half of the year, we're going to have open up our, deck. So we're going to be talking about that. But if you're a restaurant or a bar or something, but this time of the year, we're going to talk about the reopening and what we're doing and our new chef or something like that. And so, yeah, you should definitely build a content calendar and make sure that it is flexible in case of unfortunate world events or in case of great changes that happen, wonderful things that happen. So you do want to be a little flexible on the calendar. And then impactful videos. The best thing I can say about that is practice, try it, experiment. I was asked to do one for raising money for a startup a few years ago. And it was sort of like the angel investing group wanted a video of our startup team. But I was elected to do it. And I swear, when I look at it, I look like a deer in the headlights. So I wasn't really comfortable with it. And I was holding up my phone and trying to, remember a script while doing it for a timed period. So it was very wonky. But I bet if I did that another 3 or 4 times, that would have been better and it would have come out better. And, the good news is, Brandy, is that because content is much more playful now and personal and less scripted and informal, that goes to, your ability to do stuff that's fun. And it doesn't have to be about you. Video frankly should be about your customers. It's all about, your prospects and your customer and solving their needs and filling the void in, food or service or whatever help they need. So, the videos could be also solicited from your audiences. That's called consumer generated content. And that's a really, big businesses use that and they create a wonderful gallery of content for themselves when they do that. Let's see, anybody else that wants to chime in? I'm not the only person.
We have one from actually a couple of questions and comment from Sarah. Sarah says, I'm a florist in Fairfield County and we don't have Google and don't do Reels, etc. We aren't reaching brides, which is our goal. I guess we need to do more video. And then she goes on to say, we don't have a mailing list and really don't know how to go about that. So can you maybe comment on that situation?
Oh boy, Sarah, where do I start? I mean, I don't even understand why you don't have Google. That to me doesn't make sense. The first thing that you should do if you're a business in the world is claim your business with Google, because that's the first place I'm going if I'm looking for a florist. I'm going to Google and I'm searching florist in X town, Fairfield County. You must get on the map digitally. So you should be doing that. And so I would back it up, forget Reels right now, do the basics in terms of ensuring that people can find you, that the goal of digital marketing and content marketing relatedly is to connect the dots on the web. And that, the web is distributed. It's no longer all about your website. In the beginning it was, with the social platforms multiplying and the activities dispersing like that. It's really about putting nuggets out there and building your authority and your presence in your subject matter. So maybe your brides need to know that you are responsibly sourcing all of your floral arrangements, or your vendors are people in underserved community. You hire minorities based on gender and race in terms of the vendors you use. just throwing out ideas. This is an important part of it, and you can, certainly express that through video. And I could see that being done in a less wonky way in that slide format that I talked about, where you might just print out, 3 different parts of your messaging that you want to create and shoot it. And you would just put it up onto a story or up onto Instagram or wherever. I think Instagram would be great for your bridal audience. It's a very broad, very heavily trafficked platform, and a little bit slanted toward women. Certainly your key demo is on Insta. So I would focus on that and get creative, kind of like, do your research and look at other businesses that are really killing it, and just go and do some competitive research. That would be a recommendation to everyone. And there's nothing new in the world, so it's okay to borrow an idea that looks cool, then try it for yourself. But see who's doing it well, see who's established themselves, and create. Sarah, what I would do is, make sure you claim your space on Google, your business. I would also get a couple of loyalists who have used you to review you. Therefore, you will now have what they call social proof. You'll have a couple of great reviews. Maybe you already have a lot of great reviews, I don't know. But if you don't, that's a really nice way to see those, to show those stars when somebody Googles, because that's unfortunately that's the go, no go for a consumer when they're looking. They need to see that other people are saying good things about you.
Okay, that's great. Next question from Susan, who is a massage therapist. I want to attract more full paying clients. I'm tired of discount bargain hunters and giving too many discounts. So any advice there?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. And I'm glad that you're saying that, because I'm not a fan of that. And I think it's, a race to the bottom, right? And because those people Groupon is sort of, I think, taking advantage of business owners in that and saying, here, do this, and then you'll get all these new clients. Well, what you're really getting is bargain hunters, and they're one and done, and they're not really going to be loyal, customers for you. And perhaps you're nodding your head right now. You don't want to burn out, so take care of yourself. You're in the business of taking care of yourself. So I would suggest, you really want to go where the clients who have the resources to have massage be a regular part of their diet. Now, if you're a massage therapist and it's more of a medical thing, I would look at partnerships with various health and medical groups. Also, one thing that I forgot to mention, which is new, yesterday I heard about a new partnership between Gannett. I'm sure you guys have heard of Gannett, one of the largest local publishing groups out there. They've gobbled up a lot of smaller entities over the years, and they've just partnered with Snap, which is the parent company of Snapchat. And so this could really help to make it easier to reach, the clients that we're talking about, Susan, in your local region, because they're a local entity. And so I don't have details, we can't go into it during this call, but what I would suggest is go into Snap or Snapchat. There'll probably be a local advertising, guide there now, or Gannett has it, and that way you can take advantage of the tools, the local marketing tools that they have. There are a lot of free tools and very low-cost tools out there. As digital marketing has matured, these companies are looking more and more to solve your problems as small businesses. They've already gotten, the larger businesses out there. So the last fruit on the tree for them is to ensure that they help solve small businesses' problems, which is great. There are actually people on the phone now, on Facebook, you can get somebody to walk you through an advertising campaign if you want to experiment and spend a little money on boosting some posts. Instagram as well. Hopefully that's a little bit helpful. I want to dive in on Susan's point before I move off. So the person or the people, who you're trying to reach, think about that person, create what the marketers call a persona, a profile on that person or people, and then figure out where they're hanging out. and be there in community with those folks and share your knowledge, build your authority. You have knowledge about health and massage therapy, and maybe you can share that and create a like community. Find people who are really going to be part of your tribe there to build those relationships long term. I know it's not really a whole answer, but that's the best I can do right this second.
Okay, maybe before we go to the next question, David suggested a couple of inexpensive music sites, premiumbeat.com and audiojungle.com, based from when you're talking about those. So just thought we could share those suggestions, and thank you, David, for doing that.
Yeah, David, thank you. That's really cool. Premium, I don't know either one of those, so hopefully everybody makes note if they're looking for inexpensive music. Also, David, if it's the same David, is talking in addition to Upwork, he says another good source is for freelancers is Fiverr, and that's Fivver, Fiverr. And that one I have also used, not as much as Upwork. They're both excellent. So great. Thanks so much, David.
Okay, I think we've got a classic question here from Gary. Can a boomer make a presence on TikTok? Do you know of any examples?
Yeah, a couple of months ago, I think I had this presentation in December, and I was talking to Kim Miller about who's on this social platforms all day, and because she does create, she does the work for her small businesses. One of them is Montauk Tackle, which is a great clothing brand out on Montauk, out on Long Island. But anyway, I said, oh, TikTok, well, you can't really look at that if your customers, over 30. And she says, I'm not sure that's true anymore. It is growing so rapidly that she says she sees people all the time of all ages on TikTok. So I guess my short answer would be yes. You could definitely consider doing it. I think the content is the point, not the age that you are, and your creative juices and how you're presenting. I mean, if we look at the last year has been kind of fascinating case study for content and for social media. I think they'll be studying, the effects of COVID in society for a long time, politics and otherwise. But politicians, celebrities, I mean, think about it. If your job is to be famous for, live music, John Mayer, I'm a huge Dead and Company fan. John Mayer was very open as he does a IGTV regular show. And at the beginning, he was very frank and saying, I don't even know how to be, I'm normally touring all the time, either with my band or with the Dead and Company group. And he's like, what does my life mean now? So I guess my point is that there have been some interesting outcomes. People have put themselves out there that wouldn't have before in all kinds of ways. Showing up on, Stephen Colbert had 3 guests that are like AAA guests, Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks, and one other person I forget, all on one show. And it's because it's Zoom, they're zooming in, and they also need to be seen. They have movies to promote. So I guess hopefully that made a point at some point in time.
That's great. A question from Joellen on written content. What should you expect to pay for written content? I think it's all over the map, but any advice you could give may help.
Well, pay for written content. I mean, I think those freelancer platforms change the game for us. I mean, I have gotten a project for several pages of website copy for, a few $100s. So, and it was well done. And I think that there's such a broad range. I would, if Jenna, you have any thoughts, I mean, you're a professional, social media director. perhaps you have experience there. I don't know. But it can range so widely. So, Don Heyman, I was going to try and chase him down and get some rate quotes from him, but I did not have time. So I apologize for that. It just can range so much because the quality and the experience level of the person that you're working with will range. The project will, if you have a small project, it could be just very affordable for you. And the importance of getting that right so that you're communicating quite clearly and concisely is going to be worth the money, because you only have such a few seconds to grab somebody's attention. And if you're fumfering around from a written perspective, you're gonna lose people. You really need to grab them. And also I think well, I guess that's all I'll say on that.
We have a video question now from Gigi. Is there a sweet spot for video length? I've tried uploading a number of videos on Google My Business under 60 seconds that never uploaded, but they seem to work on other platforms.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, you're teaching me something. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, unless it's instructional or it's like a webinar kind of situation, shorter is better. First of all, it's more versatile, to your point. If you were able to cut that down or break it out up into 2 or 3 different segments of 20 seconds, that might be a stronger play. There's no real additional, it's a little additional production time and effort for you, but more content is just that. It's more content on your thing, which will be, engaged with and will help you with SEO.
And Kate, this is Jenna. I'll just chime in a little bit on video. Shorter is always better, right? You want to try to entice the people within the first 3 to 5 seconds, right? People have very short attention spans. So I think it's important to get your message across within that first 3 to 5 seconds to hook them in to want to learn more. Oftentimes a strategy we use at PB is that, we have that 15 to 20 second snippet, and then we oftentimes link it to a longer form video, right? It's just a little teaser to whet their palate to get them to want to click through to watch the full experience.
That's awesome, Jenna. Thank you so much. That's really helpful. And I'm sure we'll keep people on notice that brevity is next to grace or something. I'm looking at, okay, how do you add friends on Clubhouse? I was invited and I joined a few weeks ago, but I've not figured it out. Yeah, it's so funny. I just this morning was tuning into Clubhouse and clicked into some cool groups, and then next thing I know, I went to like a like that intro to Clubhouse group, and then I kind of accidentally tripped over it. I'm trying to remember how I did that, but basically it said, invite your contacts, and I had to go into my settings on my phone. And, I was nervous about it, but I was like, all right, I'll, I'm not inviting all my contacts. They don't do that. That was the old days, and that would really piss everybody off. Just opened up your contacts, the API connected with Clubhouse's API. And suddenly all the people, that I would want to invite were visible on, my Clubhouse link. So I could have invited, and I did actually. And it's great. It generates an automatic text based on their mobile number. And it says, hey, I want to invite you to Clubhouse. So it took me 2 seconds. I actually invited a couple people this morning. Hopefully that helps. Reviews on website, but nobody can find the website. Okay, so, this might be a drag, Sarah Shaw. If you have 2 or 3 of that are really good, reach out to those people, offer them something, for their effort, and or just ask them nicely to go post that on the Google, your business page, because that way it shows up on search right there. The fact that nobody can find the website is a whole nother kettle of fish regarding search engine optimization. There may be a whole bunch of things. You might need to update the site if it's older than, 10 years old. So much has changed. It may be how your, tags, how things are tagged, your content's tagged or organized. You might have a, what was it called? Flash that's impermeable. The crawl, the search crawlers can't get at Flash, so you'll be passed by. You may need to do some work. You may need to have a developer take a peek at your website and give you an eval and see why you're not being found. Hi, Sarah. Okay, I'm Kate, but I'm I get your point. Are you on websites like The Knot and Wedding Wire? Oh, I see. You're asking Sarah. She's the wedding planner. Are you on? Okay, sorry. Gotcha. Are you on? Yeah, The Knot is a great place for wedding planning. Bridal florist would be important. I don't know, Jenna, if you have to pay to be a vendor on The Knot, or is there a free option on Wedding Wire or on The Knot? Because I think you have a fee associated with that, but that's a very, very good idea. And this goes along the point of partnerships and like communities, right? And so I talked to, as I was talking to Barrel House, I'm saying, who might be an overlapping community for her and them. I don't know the answer offhand, but I could imagine that a car club, a Habitat for Humanity chapter, a book club, dog park. I'm just throwing ideas out there, but these could be groups where you might say, I said to her, maybe you offer to host and host an hour each month for their group at the tap room. That doesn't cost her anything. It costs her 1 hour of beer flowing from a tap or a seltzer. She can give that away, and she's bringing in a whole new community. They can post content while they're there, and you're creating new content. I'm off on a tangent, but hopefully you get my point there. And in looking at places where your customer is going, and that was Jenna's point. The Knot and Wedding Wire, that's where those bride-to-bes are turning to. So it would be very important to be there for sure, and worth the investment, because you're filtering out people that maybe aren't. But although, florist could be for anything. So you really probably could be in a variety of different platform areas.
Kate, we had an earlier question, I think, that we didn't get to, and it was from another Sarah. Google Business doesn't work for e-commerce businesses, does it? So do you kind of want to comment on that?
It doesn't?
I'm surprised.
Okay, that's something I did not know.
Well, it's more of a question, but I think the answer is that it does work. So maybe you could be more explicit about what's not working for you.
Google My Business, are you okay? So what you're saying is, because we're not talking about a place, and we're not talking about going, calling to interact. We're talking about somebody's just able to interact with your content where they find it and buy directly, and so therefore bypassing Google My Business. Am I right in that thinking? I think you can. There's some. Well, your website then really should be where you put that focus, and ensuring that the information is clear and out there, and that people are able, anywhere they go, to be able to interact with your site very quickly. The link to your website should be really your main focus. But I might not be answering that correctly, but think about that.
Just a reminder to people, we do have about 5 minutes left or so. If you have any last questions, you can type them in. And maybe while we're waiting for that, Kate, I had one that maybe you might want to address. You earlier talked, in addition to video, you talked about audio. Do you have any thoughts on podcasts for marketing and from that perspective?
I do, actually, and I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but I had it this morning for Barrel House, which was, it occurred to me when I was listening to that Clubhouse thing. I was like, there's so many podcasters out there, and you may decide that podcast is the way to go. And if you do, I would make it short, because 20 minutes or longer is, what a lot of the podcasts that are more like professional out there do. But I love the short little bites. And I think a local business could really do a good job with that and be able to post that out there. And maybe it's your, free tips, based on the business that you have. Maybe you're, computer security, or you do social media or marketing, or, like Don Heyman, some quick tips. He could take Q&A, and he have a couple people lined up that are talking with Don about their business revamp and how, they're going to approach that from a written communication standpoint. But the idea I had for Barrel House was, I called it a fake sponsorship. And so, no money would change hands, but maybe you talk to a business owner who is doing a podcast and say, can we sponsor that? And it would be, in her case, it would be, free product in exchange for being mentioned as a sponsor of their podcast, and being able to kind of be partners in that. And there may be more that goes back and forth in a barter fashion. But I do think, audio is really, it's interesting how much it's become emphasized now in a variety of different ways. And I was just listening to actually a podcast about interviewing the new product chief for Twitter, and he was talking about Spaces, which is Twitter's answer to Clubhouse, and I think that's right. Yeah, and talking about really trying to encourage the behaviors that are value exchange, conversations, and following and getting people interested in following their interest areas. Instead of some of the more malign and like hideous things that we've seen in the last few, half a dozen years on Twitter and other platforms. They're trying to tweak that to encourage better action. Anyway, little meandering on the point there, but I think podcasts are fantastic. So a good example, Haven in Greenwich, Darien, a women's networking facility run by Felicia Rubenstein. She's a marketing expert, so they've been doing a great job with all kinds of output. So go to Haven if you want to look at the types of things they're doing. It's Havyn, Haven, and very creative use of a variety of marketing tactics. And they are building community to really grow their audience of potential leasers of space in Haven, and just fans and people who would want to spend time there. I mean, what a supreme challenge during COVID, but they've managed to keep on goal, and they've managed their growth very well during this time. So I think it's cause for celebration, but you do need to double down on kind of creative thought. And if you're feeling burned out, find another, use social, maybe LinkedIn, for example, massage therapist. I apologize, I forget your name. Go on, LinkedIn's got groups of all kinds. Find a marketing group to join and exchange like we're doing here, ideas, thoughts, questions, and really find value there, because it can be a lonely road being an entrepreneur. Take it from me, I've been there 7 times. So, but keep trying, keep pushing, and when you find success, and double down on that, and moving forward. I am really happy to be able to talk to everybody today. Thanks for your time.
Great, thanks. That is all the time we have for questions today. Just a reminder to everybody that the webinar was recorded, and the materials will be available within a couple of days on our fairfieldcounty.score.org website. And our next live webinar is tomorrow, Wednesday, March 10th at noon. And the topic is Social Commerce in 2021 with Jeff Seaver and John Dupre presenting. And again, if you would like to take advantage of the free individual counseling, you can use the link on the screen, if I can get Kate to swip the slide, or you can go to our website and click on Request a Mentor. Also, when you do get your evaluation, we'd really appreciate it if you could fill it out. It does help us with our future programs. And on behalf of SCORE, I'd like to thank everyone for attending our live webinar today, and a special thank you to Pitney Bowes and Jenna for joining us and sponsoring today's webinar. And in closing, thank you, Kate, for a great presentation today. Stay well, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you.